Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Real Talk 1160. Hope you're ready for your radio superbity. I put up on my Facebook page last night that, acronyms. We have the GOP. We have the NCAA. I'm taking entries for what's OBAMA stands for. Obama. Isn't Obama just another acronym?
I don't know. I thought it was Irish.
And TC, you asked me before we came on the air about the bachelor party.
Yeah, I was wondering. I thought he probably went. He went to the bachelor party. You're shaking your head no.
I did not go to the bachelor's party.
Really?
If you've never listened to the show before and you're just tuning in, we cover it all. And one of those things we cover is the life of the Bulldog. And I can tell you right now, and we only tell interesting stories. You might be interested. I'm not going to tell you a story about how I went shopping for petunias, unless it's a funny story. But anyway,
you're not getting off that easy.
My daughter is getting married on Friday. And they had a bachelorette party and a bachelor's party on Saturday. And I did not go to the bachelor's party. I stayed home and worked and watched UK's game. My wife went to the bachelorette party, but she got home by 9 p.m. I'm proud of her. She did not go to the late night extracurriculars, which, by the way, I found out from my daughter, she got home at 4 a.m.
Whoa.
So the bachelorette party must have been a success. Now, as far as the bachelor's party, I did not want to go and hang out with my future son-in-law, his dad, and my sons when they were going to have some live entertainment. Now, what's interesting about the live entertainment that I heard is that my daughter, who's in law school, who spent the night on the couch, she came home and studied on Saturday, and she wanted to stay Sunday morning. I fixed her pancakes. My daughter tells me that when my stepsons and my son came in the door early morning Sunday, that she heard my son say, "That was the greatest night of my life. I want that entertainment every," and I'm using the word entertainment. "I want that entertainment every weekend." Allegedly, TC, the three individuals that liked the entertainment the most were my son and my two stepsons.
Oh, okay. All right.
And they were very glad. We had a family dinner last night. They were very glad that I did not go so they could act their stupid selves. See, so I knew that. I would never, ever. I would feel so awkward with my dad with the entertainment of a bachelor's party. Would you not?
Yeah.
I remember watching television with my parents, and somebody starts kissing on TV. It makes you feel a little weird.
That didn't bother me.
Didn't bother you?
But yeah, I could see that might be kind of awkward.
Yeah.
You could have done the meet the Deters kind of thing. That's what you know what I mean?
That's
Giving
true.
them, the two fingers.
Meet the Deters. Well, TC, this was a weekend of NCAA basketball, and there's no need to report all which you already know. But UK, Louisville, Xavier, Ohio, UC, Ohio State, Indiana are all in the Final 16. It is incredible. 7 of the 16 teams come from our region. And it's the first time in the history of the Sweet 16 that 4 teams came from the same state. The Buckeyes, UC, Xavier, and Ohio University, the Bobcats. UK, of course, plays Indiana on Friday. Louisville plays Michigan State, which I hope they beat them. UC and the Buckeyes play each other. Xavier plays Baylor, which means if they beat Xavier, they could possibly play UK, which I think is going to happen because I think UK is going to have revenge on their mind playing Indiana. You know, they lost to them on a neutral, on Indiana's court. And also Ohio plays North Carolina. And what's significant about that, North Carolina lost Kendall Marshall, their point guard, to a broken wrist, unless he's going to play with a broken wrist. So, I mean, conceivably in the Final 8, it could be UK, Ohio State or UC, and Xavier, and Ohio, and Louisville. I mean, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. This region is showing why we're dominant. Dominant. Also in NBA, the Heat beat the Magic 91-81. And also, this is kind of important, at least I think it's kind of important, is that when you're talking about the NCAA, it's about the complete experience. And I think that economically, it is so critical for our region and every sports bar region in the state. It is the best month. You know, Super Bowl's like one game. The NCAA is, especially when you go back to and you include the finals of the conference tournaments. It's 4 weekends of incredible basketball that fills up the sports bars, and it's the only time they're filled up except with football. And football doesn't even fill them up that much anymore because of the big screen TVs.
And then when March Madness is over, we got opening day.
All right. And there's something about watching a college basketball game with a crowd of 500 people you don't know that's more entertaining than watching it at home by yourself.
It's a bond. There's a bond.
There's a bond.
You're absolutely right about that. I mean, it's like Christmas for retailers, you know?
That's right. And I don't know if you noticed these things. I'm sure you did, TC. By the way, I've watched more college basketball in a tournament this year than I have ever have in my first 48 years. I don't know why. I was sitting there all weekend working. I watched at least part of every single game.
Did you?
I just into it. Did you notice how funny the State Farm insurance commercials are?
Now, see, I worked all weekend.
You missed it? Bobby Knight. There's a State Farm commercial. Bobby Knight asking a question of an insurance agent, and everybody's hidden under the desk. You know, and he says, "Are you satisfied? Don't I look satisfied?" I mean, it's just funny. And then the two guys dancing in the stands. But I got to give it up to State Farm. They are getting their money's worth in this tournament. A little fun fact of the tournament: first time in the history of the tournament, all the way back to 1970 something, that no overtime games up to this point.
Really?
And there's been some close games,
right?
But no overtime games.
So how are you doing with your picks?
I don't pick them. Although I have successfully picked some games. I didn't pick Lehigh beating Duke.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm giving Lehigh, who lost to Xavier, Oracle status for beating Duke for me.
Yeah, yeah.
The number 2 seed in Kentucky's region.
I know in a perfect world, UK wins it all for you, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
Yeah. The TBS commentary is outstanding because, they're playing these games on CBS television, True Television, TBS. Ernie Brown, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley in gang. I don't know about you, but they're the best. They're informative, but they're entertaining. They're much better than CBS. It reminds me of Eisen, Deion Sanders, and Mooch and company on NFL Network. Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith say something smart, but also witty.
Right. If you got personality.
They got
witty
personality to it.
Yeah.
They're witty and wise. They're not that mundane, analysis that you would get from Billy Packer or even Jim Nantz or Clark Kellogg. By the way, Clark Kellogg, who is a great color analyst, he's my favorite. His son is a guard, I think he's a guard, for the Ohio Bobcats.
Is that right?
And it's the first time the Ohio Bobcats have ever made it to the Sweet 16.
Nice.
But I just think those guys are great. Charles Barkley will he'll make a comment that's serious, but then he's just got funny quips. Some more stuff is relative to the NCAA tournament that I have to comment on. I just can't help myself. TC?
Yes.
You remember I always say that I think I watch these games and I think that I can coach better than other coaches?
Right. You say you can do a lot of things better than other people.
What do you believe, or do you have an opinion as to the number one coaching mistake that coaches make in the NCAA tournament? Do you have one?
No, I wouldn't have a clue.
Here is mine. All right. It is win and go home. You either win the game or it's over with. The biggest mistake that these coaches make, and I will never, ever, 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 ever understand it, is when a really good player gets 2 fouls in the first half, you sit them. When they get 3 fouls in the early part of the second half, you sit them. They get 4 fouls halfway through the second half, you sit them. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, it is inexcusable. What is the logic of that? Let me explain this, okay? If you've got a really good player, what counts is how many minutes he's out on that court. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, it doesn't matter if he's playing 5 minutes or 2 minutes, or 5 minutes and 5 minutes, wherever he plays the minutes. It does make a difference if he's out on the court playing. He can't be playing if he's sitting on the bench with 2 fouls, 3 fouls, or 4 fouls. You might as well play the guy as many minutes as possible. Exhibit A of why this is a terrible decision. Lehigh, McCollum, their best player, now this is a good thing for Xavier, their best player goes to the bench with 2 fouls with like 4.5 minutes left in the first half. They're up by 15 points. Xavier closes the deal and is only down 4 points to end the half.
Yeah.
With Lehigh's best player sitting there on the bench for 4.5 minutes with 2 fouls. Terrible decision. And you know what, folks? Every single coach does it. It's the coach's coaching book. Now, let me give you an example of a coach that did not follow this rule, and he's my favorite basketball coach, and he's a genius. Coach Larry Miller, the Simon Kitten Pioneers in the 1980-81 championship. I'm going to tell you what he did in the semifinals. It was incredible. When we come back, basketball on Real Talk 1160. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. I was ranting, folks. And you know what? Nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about this.
Let's set the stage. We take you back now to the 1980-1981 Simon Kitten season. With a recap, here's the Bulldog.
The game was the semifinals in the state tournament. They were playing a team from Louisville. Simon Kitten was in the semifinals, and they had a guy named Manuel Forrest, who was a first-team All-American with Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing as a high school senior. In the first minutes of the game, Simon Kitten, star basketball player, Troy McKinley, picks up 2 fouls like in the first minute of the game. Coach Miller leaves him in. I don't think Troy picked up another foul, and Simon Kitten won on a last-second shot. Folks, if he would have set Troy McKinley down for the rest of the half or the quarter, what the hell do you think would have happened? They would have got their butts beat. I mean, that is Exhibit A, and I talked to Miller about it because I wrote the book. I told him, he goes, man, it was win or go home. What the heck? I can't put my best player down. Furthermore, if you are a good player and you pick up 2 fouls in the first half, now it doesn't mean that they don't accidentally pick up that 3rd foul or 4th foul, but you can just tell them, just say, hey, no reach-ins, dude. In other words, you reinforce it. Don't do a knick-knack foul.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that they still don't screw up and do it. But what do you got to lose? You're going to lose anyway if your best players are on the bench. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, you will never convince me that I am not right. And what I am saying is not done by a single coach in the country. I can't get over it. And this is interesting. UK baseball is undefeated, 19-0. UK baseball undefeated. I want to congratulate Trinity from Louisville. They won the boys' state basketball tournament in Kentucky. They're the first school in history to win basketball and football. And how about this, just for a little observation? Tiger Woods is ranked 18th in the world. Who would have ever thunk that Tiger Woods would be ranked 18th? All right, today in history, 1918, Congress okayed daylight savings time. Yeah, baby. 1979, the U.S. House of Representatives began televising proceedings. And here's this will take you back, and you'll go, God, I remember that. 1987, televangelist Jim Baker resigned as chairman of his ministry amid a sex and money scandal involving Jessica Hahn, a former church secretary. Well, once again, folks, we have a great trifecta in birthdays. I mean, this is a good yippee-ki-yay. Bruce Willis is 57. Glenn, I'm going to cook a rabbit in your pot if you leave me close, is 65. And I tell you right now, this is an incredible life. Wyatt Earp. It's his birthday today. Do you know Wyatt Earp was a lawman in the rugged Old West, and not one time did a bullet graze his body? He was never struck with a bullet the entire time he was a lawman. That is incredible.
That's good living.
They say that Kurt Russell's portrayal of him, although I was glamorized a little bit, was accurate to the way that Wyatt Earp did law, that he did not, he was, and he also talked about this when you shoot. Wyatt Earp said that when you shoot, the guy that wins and the guy that kills is the guy that aims calmly and makes sure he hits his target versus, the quick, got to get you quick, because when you're aiming a gun to kill somebody, you need to stay calm. Pretty interesting. Sad to report a military death. Second Lieutenant Clovis T. Ray, 34, San Antonio, Texas, died March 15th at Kunar, Providence. And part of my show today, we're going to discuss what's going on in Afghanistan. Today, isolated thunderstorms, high of 81, folks. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 83. Wednesday, sunny, high of 82.
Okay, let's stop right there for a second. We've had phenomenal weather. Don't you think it's worth 3 minutes on TV for a weather person to talk about why we're having such incredible weather this time of year?
No. It's a waste of time.
Not at all.
It's a waste of time.
That's what everybody's talking about. Oh, I can't believe this weather.
You know what you should do when the weather's this good instead of analyzing it?
Just enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, TC, I did my first bike ride of the year.
Did you?
And unlike last year, I had my iPhone loaded with music. And it was an incredible, nice bike ride. It was sunny. I got a little sun. I put on my sunglasses. I put on my backpack in order to bring my newspaper back from my office. I rode up to my office and back. And I had my music on. And I tell you right now, it was awesome. I'm in the groove.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to ride my bike every day.
There you go.
I'm going to go home from work and get on my bike.
See, this great weather, we have no excuses not to get outside and exercise.
No excuses whatsoever. Got a great history story for you. Theodore Roosevelt served the remainder of William McKinley's term as president after he was elected to another 4-year term. He left the White House in 1909, and his friend, Secretary of War William Howard Taft, took office. When the primaries of 1912 came around, Teddy found he had issues with Taft, so he decided to throw his hat in the ring. The Republican Party saw little benefit in abandoning the incumbent and renominated Taft. So the Democrats backed Woodrow Wilson, and TR formed his own party, the Bull Moose Party. Sounds like the Bulldog Party, doesn't it? Roosevelt was traveling in Milwaukee for a campaign rally on October 14th, 1912, when a man leapt out of the crowd, produced a pistol, and shot the president in the chest. The bullet blasted through Roosevelt's coat, his steel spectacle case, a folded 58-page copy of the speech he was to deliver and lodged in his rib cage. People in the crowd seized the shooter, threatening to lynch him on the spot, until Roosevelt yelled, "Stand back! Don't hurt that man!" Despite a bloodied shirt and a bullet in his ribs, Roosevelt lived for this stuff. Roosevelt decided to deliver his speech. Later, he went to the hospital and had the annoyance extracted. Taft and Wilson announced they were suspending their campaigns until Teddy recuperated. While everyone admired Teddy's courage and resilience, the division in the Republican Party and the Bull Moose took their toll on both parties, and Wilson was elected president. The gunman, identified as former New York City saloon keeper John F. Schrank, told authorities the ghost of William McKinley ordered him to shoot T.R. Schrank. He was deemed insane. Even though millions of Americans wanted him executed, Schrank was committed to the Central State Mental Hospital in Wisconsin for 31 years. He died at September 16th, 1943.
The voices. Listen to the voices.
Is he still alive today? The evil men that do lives after them. The good is often interned with their bones. That's William Shakespeare today. Not bad. A dog saying today, if you pick up a starving dog and make him prosperous, he will not bite you. It's the principal difference between a dog and a man. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? You can't trust man, but you can trust a dog. At least I think you can trust a dog.
Then why do they say men are dogs?
I don't know. I got a great little story about history.
Okay.
When we come back, I got another little history story for you. And then we're going to get into our routine. We're going to have pop culture, local news. Of course, we will have political news. You know, we got to beat up Obama a little bit.
The O'Reilly report coming up?
O'Reilly report coming up. We'll see what he says, whether it makes sense. This is the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, on Saturday, I began reading a 500-page book about the history of the Roman Empire. And I'm going to share with you, as I read this daily, the parts of the Roman Empire which relate to today. I'm not going to bore you. It's going to be entertaining or inspirational or informative. Now, I can tell you this. I find it interesting if you study Greek. First of all, we all know the story of Jesus. And we know the story of his life and his resurrection. And the fact that he was God's son from a virgin birth. I always find it interesting, the analogy of that to the Greeks and Hercules. You know what I'm talking about? Hercules, part man, part God, traveled the world doing deeds. Kind of see like the Hercules, Jesus little, you see some similarities. Now, it gets in Rome. I'm reading how Rome was founded. You think about Moses was left in a bad. Well, the reality is that Romulus and Remus were left to die by a tyrant. And of course they were suckled by a she-wolf and then was later found by a shepherd. A shepherd finds Romulus and Remus, and then we have Romulus killing Remus because he walked over his plow line. That's a hell of a good reason to, in his boundaries. You stay over there, Remus. Remus didn't. Romulus kills him. And Romulus founds the city of Rome on a hill. And guess what happens when Romulus dies? He descends into heaven. I mean, you look at these ancient religions and the parallels in their stories. It's pretty incredible. But that's not what I wanted to mention. How awesome is this analogy? You know what? Why can't our political leaders pick up some books and read them? It wouldn't hurt, would it? I wish they would read a book on the history of Greece, the history of Rome, and the history of America. It wouldn't hurt them to read a history of England as well. So I'm reading this book about the founding of Rome, and there's a lot of introductory stuff, as you begin a book. And it's amazing how they point out that Rome lasted all this time. I mean, you're talking about the Roman Republic lasted 500 years, but if you go back to the founding of Rome, and it never really completely fell. They talk about the fall of Rome, but the Rome in the East survived past 500 AD. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, how awesome is it that Rome was a city and became an empire? It's like New York becoming an empire. But it grabbed me. It grabbed me. I couldn't believe it. They said one of the things that they had the soldiers do in times of peace, and there was a Pax Romana. After Augustus, from Augusta took power, there was great peace in Rome for like 200 years. Okay? They didn't have to fight foreign wars. Let me tell you something. I read this and I'm like, oh my God. Do you know what they used the Roman soldiers in times of peace? They built aqueducts. If you didn't know that, that was the aqueducts for transportation of water. The old days plumbing, okay? Utilities, roads, bridges, so forth and so on, infrastructure. And it struck me like a ton of bricks. Look where our country is right now. And just think about all these soldiers. Unemployment in soldiers coming home is like 30%. 30% unemployment for returning soldiers. Now, these soldiers have skills. And in fact, guess what? We got soldiers building hospitals, schools, roads, and bridges in Iraq and Afghanistan. How awesome would it be if we bring all the soldiers home and put them to work building a wall with Mexico? And how about they build some bridges? And how about they build some roads? So forth and so on. Maybe we ought to follow the example of Rome. Let's have peace and let's put our soldiers to work. Pretty interesting in a TC.
That's a great point. That is a great point.
I mean, it would be a wonderful use of our military. And guess what? Unlike the inflated budget, just like you and I get mad at the bloated federal budget, I'm sorry, folks, I'm not going to get too upset if we're paying our soldiers to rebuild the infrastructure of our country, which needs to be done. And we were promised that was going to be part of the stimulus, and it was not, was it?
Especially in Hamilton County. Our roads are horrible.
Oh, they're terrible. Just picture a bunch of soldiers out there. And, soldiers, they're used to taking orders.
Yeah.
Soldiers are used to working hard. They're used to the heat.
Right.
They're used to packing around all their equipment.
And they're building infrastructures over there.
Over there.
Why not do it here?
Why not do it here? I mean, it drives me nuts, folks.
Every now and then you come up with a great idea. That's brilliant how you put those together. I am thoroughly impressed with that.
And when you think about Rome, and by the way, guess what kept Rome? The military.
Yeah.
The military. Guess what? People didn't mess with Rome because legions didn't lose. Now, don't get me wrong. They had their few failures with Spartacus and their few failures with Hannibal. But generally, the legions kicked butt. By the way, did you know the first defeat Attila suffered from? Roman legions. I mean, the Roman legions were tough, man. Oh, my God, the analogy, too, when I think about it. See, our founding fathers borrowed from Rome, folks. Do you know that the dome on the Jefferson Memorial is modeled after the Pantheon in Rome? Guess what the symbol of every Roman legion was carried in a banner? The eagle. The eagle was the symbol of the strength of the legion. Yeah, I wonder if our founding fathers sitting around and saying, let me see, national bird. Hey, Benjamin, the turkey. You know what would be much better is how about that eagle that the Romans used at the front of their legions? Ladies and gentlemen, those people that said history was dead, you're going, oh, history's dead. No. History is alive, and history reveals, and history shows the way. History is a great teacher. And you know what? They may claim they know history. Poppycock. They don't know their history. You know, if they knew their history, and you're tired of me saying this, they would have known that, the last people to conquer Afghanistan, Genghis Khan and Alexander. Russians tried it. Soviet Union tried it. They failed. Maybe we won't be able to either. You know what? If Adolf Hitler, the arrogant SOB, would have studied his history and said, Napoleon, one of the greatest generals of all time, tried to invade Russia in winter. Well, that didn't work out. I mean, I'm telling you right now, okay? How about our politicians? Let's look to see how great countries fell apart. Oh, they fell apart because of high taxations and economic disasters, even more than being conquered by countries. Do you know what Rome had, folks? True story. Rome had low taxes. Seriously, low taxes. When they conquered these countries, one of the ways that they brought these citizens in to Roman Empire was because they got to pay less tax than they were with the tyrants that were in charge of their countries Rome conquered. These people were like, man, this is better than what we had before. We're now Roman citizens. And by the way, Rome made them all citizens. They let them all come in as citizens. How awesome would it be for all those illegal immigration lovers that we said, okay, you all can be citizens, but you're paying taxes. No free ride. Oh, my God. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I did that column a week or so ago where I said the more I learn, the more frustrating it becomes. My God, it becomes more frustrating. The more knowledge you put in your head, you sit around and say, my God. So you've learned some things already today. This is an informative show. You've learned that coaches are jackwagons for taking out their star players when they have 2 fouls in the first half or 3 fouls in the early part of the half. What would you rather do, your star player? And by the way, people say, well, you got to save him until the end. What difference it make if he's sitting on the bench for 15 minutes, but you bring him in the last 3 minutes? Makes no logical sense whatsoever. Furthermore, you talk about a psychological killer. Those coaches that go for it on 4th down all the time, man, that is on the defensive. That messes up a defense. Man, we got to stop them because they go for it on 4th down. How cool is it for the opposing team to say, man, these guys, they play hard and they don't come out, period. If if Anthony Davis picks up 2 fouls in the first half, Calipari better not sit him. We come back, pop culture. I'm rolling on a Monday on Real Talk 1160.
Real Talk 1160 with the Huckabee Report coming up at 8:30 this morning. And now, back to the Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters on Real Talk 1160. Coming up after the news, I have a beauty contestant, Miss Heart of the East, who will be now in Miss Kentucky. She is the niece, I think, niece or good friend of my buddy Jason Detheridge, and I agreed to have her on to promote what she wants to promote.
It's a nice thing.
Yes. TC mentioned about the soldiers, my idea. By the way, do you hear anybody in the country talking about coaches not playing their star players with 2 or 3 fouls? Do you hear anybody in the country talking about Rome and the analogy of our soldiers in peacetime? By the way, how about our soldiers guarding our ports and our airports? Hello. By the way, did you know TSA have captured 0 terrorists? 0. You can check it out on my blog and newsletter, the stats on TSA. But how about this XL pipeline? Oh, it sounds like a pretty good idea for soldiers to build. Let's build a whole bunch of pipelines.
And then let the private sector maintain all this stuff that they build.
Gosh.
There are your jobs right there.
In pop culture, Oprah Winfrey has canceled Rosie's show on her network.
No.
Hey, Oprah, call us. Bulldog Nation will do an attorney reality show and return your Oprah network to prominence. Rush Limbaugh has some of his advertisers who dropped him say, "We want back," and Rush goes, "No thanks."
Really?
Ha, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Must be nice mattress company, and I forget who else. But, yeah, a couple companies wanted to come back after they dogged him.
Now, see, it must be nice to be that wealthy where you can turn away business.
Yes, yes.
I would know.
2 Clooneys were arrested. Nick and George were arrested outside the U.S. Sudan embassy for protesting the Sudan's government blocking food to their people. How do you like that? International people and agencies send Sudan food for the starving people, and then the government doesn't let them have it. Jessica Simpson, I'm going to have Chuck and my social networking people post this on Facebook. I usually don't do this, but in my People magazine, there is a picture of Jessica Simpson in a red dress. Now, by the way, the issue isn't the fact she's pregnant. Come on, man. There's nothing more beautiful than a pregnant woman, right? But she wears this red dress and high heels. She looks like a big tomato. It is so god-awful, I have to share it with you. So check out my Facebook page. You're going to see the Jessica Simpson People magazine photo, and I'm like, Jessica, what the heck? People wonder why Nick Lachey left her. I mean, somebody needs to dress Jessica Simpson.
Now, see, I think a pregnant woman
she farts, too. She admits it. That's disgusting for a woman.
That's part of pregnancy, I think. That increases, I believe.
And she was farting when she wasn't pregnant.
Now, think about it. A pregnant woman is only beautiful if she's your pregnant woman.
That's a good point.
You look at all the other pregnant women and you go, oh, she's taken.
No, you got to be one of those phony guys that say, "Oh, you're glowing so much." Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And a real woman throws something at you when you say that.
Yeah.
Don't tell me I'm glowing. I'm feeling like crap.
Go get me a milkshake.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I've got to be really, really careful what I do when tragedy strikes because I am a lawyer. And I'm, quote unquote, an ambulance chaser. And I'm actually very self-conscious about this because people will misunderstand motives. They'll misunderstand what you're doing. So I have anonymously, for example, did a lot of donations to the tornado relief in our community. But I got to do it that way. If I donate things and it's, or you do something high-profile thing, oh, look at him. He's just trying to get attention. I purposefully stayed away from driving over because I know it's like anything. It's like when somebody dies, everybody's there at the funeral, then after time goes by, when these people, they still need people like way after the event happens. So I have stayed away from the tornado regions. I just have not gone. I just said, if I show up, they'll say, oh, the Bulldog's just looking for attention. I have been promoting the relief efforts, obviously, on the radio in my newsletter. Well, Friday evening, after my wife and I ate the fish fry in Walton, we took a tour of the damage in Kenton County. Went down Bagby Road, Carlisle Road. Incredible. Television does not do it justice. I cannot believe the breadth of the tornado swipe, the destruction of trees and houses and homes. And you can kind of see the path as you're driving down a Bagby Road. Then you think, well, the tornado go this way. Then you go Parker's Grove. And it's just incredible. I mean, you can't. Television does not do it justice. The reason why I bring this up is keep helping, folks. God bless all of you church groups that are out there helping. God bless Pioneer Baptist, Hickory Grove, Crittenden Baptist, I think it is. All the people out there that are helping your neighbors, keep it up. If there's any announcements you want me to make, let me know and I'll do it. Incredible devastation. And I think to myself, as the crow flies a couple miles, that could have been our house. And the houses that weren't touched along that route, I'm sure they're like, you got to be kidding me. Or they just lost a little bit of siding. They got to be thinking to themselves, holy cow. Great story in the Journal News by Bill Clark. He writes in the Journal News like I do, from Hickory Grove Baptist. And when he heard about the tornado, he was in the basement of his house, him and his family, and he heard one of his parishioners, somebody that belongs to his church, house was devastated. And he goes over to his house. And the man of the house, his name's Popper, is walking down the driveway. And the first thing he says to the pastor was, praise the Lord, or something to that effect, because he was alive. This guy lost his house, but because he and his family were alive, he praised the Lord. That is incredible. Talk about faith, man.
Right. People
that want to bash faith. Are you kidding me? Is that not incredible?
No, that is incredible.
He praised God, and they cried with tears of joy they were safe.
You remember the story, the mom who, her double amputee because she protected her kids.
Right.
She's getting released
By the way,
today,
I got to give her Oracle status.
Yeah.
Do you remember her name?
Oh, shoot. Was it Jennifer, maybe?
I got to give her Oracle status, and I apologize. I haven't given it sooner. A couple mornings I said, man, I got to remember to give her Oracle. She lost her legs defending her kids.
Yeah, she jumped over her kids to protect them. And then something fell on her, but she's getting out of the hospital today. She's down in Louisville. So
now, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, this letter appeared in the Journal News by Tony Lovelace from DeMossville, which is in southern Kenton County. You people wonder why government is messed up? Listen to this letter to the editor from Tony Lovelace from DeMossville, Kentucky, on the tornado issue. It has come to my attention that the health department has instructed volunteers at Pioneer Baptist Church they could no longer serve homemade meals to residents and volunteers devastated by recent tornadoes. While I understand your role of health and safety in the community, I feel that in this case, common sense has gone out the window. The church is not charging for these meals. People are not being forced to eat anything they do not want. And the food is being prepared by people who have probably fed their own family for years without incidents, in kitchens not inspected by the health department. You wonder why, folks, America is messed up? God bless Pioneer Baptist Church. You say the hell with the health department and keep feeding people. Can you imagine that? The health department saying, we don't no longer want you to feed these people. That's the American way. Good golly. Chip and Independence, you're on Real Talk 1160. Say something witty or wise.
Bulldog, I was on those roads. I was on a street called Shady Lane.
I know where Shady Lane is. It's down there at the end of Bagby.
There's a street that was six houses on a gravel drive. All of them were gone, and these people were in a great mood. They were trying to pull metal out of the woods. Their houses that had been devastated because the one family had lost insurance because of hard times on their house.
It's incredible. It's incredible. You know, I have to admit, in these times of despair, I did have one funny thought, Chip.
Yeah.
And if somebody's had this, I'd love to hear from you. I wonder if any of those houses were in foreclosure, and because the tornado took them, they just got some economic relief, if you know what I mean. The old insurance has to rebuild.
Oh, God knows.
All righty, buddy. I thought about that. You know?
That'd be sweet.
That would be sweet. It's like,
really.
Foreclosure bank. We come back, more Radio Superbity on Real Talk 1160. This is Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Real Talk 1160. Rocking and rolling. I got a text messaging issue. My wife hates when I do LOL. She says I'm too old for that. She uses ha, H-A. What the heck is ha, H-A?
That's like ha, 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 ha.
I know others do too. Who says ha in real life? Ha, ha, ha. Then I also like the colon parenthetical, which is like simply a grin. And I got somebody that thinks that's gay. I don't care what anyone says. I'm using LOL and I'm using the old smiley thing. That's just the way I'm going to roll. I don't care what anybody says. Little legal commentary I want to do real quick. I read where the Bengal cheerleader, Laura Vickmanis, who's the oldest NFL cheerleader in the country, 43, and she's written a book, and she's going to have a little movie made about her. She spent $50,000 on her custody battle. Folks, let me tell you something. Our domestic relations system is messed up. The policies of the courts, the lawyers, the system is screwed up. How in the hell, for example, sorry, domestic relation judges, I don't get that every time somebody comes before you, you require these people, you get the guardian involved, you get the psychiatrist involved, you get these people involved, all this money, all this expense. I'm going to tell you something right now. If I was a domestic relations judge, I'd bring all the parties in. Any kids that are involved, bring them in. I would talk to them all, interview them all, let the lawyers make the arguments, and make a damn decision. I wouldn't need a psychiatrist to tell me what's in the best interest of some kids. Am I right, TC? And they have hearing after hearing after hearing. Let's face it, folks, I'd have one big hearing.
It's more trauma on the kids.
I mean, I cannot believe how broke our legal system is in domestic relations, and we just keep it on. And then we have this collaborative. Let's do the collaborative and all this stuff. I don't understand why we just can't have judges do their jobs point blank. No, we got to get a legal guardian appointed. We got to have psychiatrists appointed. We got to have counseling appointed. We got to have lawyers file motions for this and motions for this, motions for this. You know what? If I was a domestic relations judge, you know what I'd say, TC? I said, 30 days, everybody be ready for your trial.
Well, they wouldn't make as much money that way.
Yeah, and you know what? I would save the taxpayers all this money they pay on judge. $50,000 for an average American and in a custody battle? That is outrageous. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, if this has happened to you, I'm on your side. Screw the lawyers. Screw the system. Boy, I'm coming up with originality today, baby. All right, Haley and Carrollton, you're on Real Talk 1160. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You know, it's hilarious, Haley, that I hear from you by email, Haley Franklin, and I immediately think of a Haley Franklin that used to work for us as a legal secretary for Dave Drake. But, Haley, tell the ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, what contest that you won, where are you headed, and what do you like to do?
All right. Well, I am Miss Heart of the East 2012. And basically what that is a preliminary for the Miss America program.
Uh-oh.
And so
big time.
Now I get to go to Miss Kentucky in July. So it's pretty exciting.
Now, this is Miss Kentucky. They prelude for Miss USA. So if you win Miss Kentucky, you're actually going to be the representative for Kentucky in the Miss America pageant?
Yes, you got it.
That's incredible. I mean, Miss America still has more glory than Miss USA, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, to me, I feel like they're both so different, and that a lot of people don't know the difference between the two.
What is the difference between the two?
Basically, the America system, you have talent, and the USA system doesn't require talent for the contestants. So the Miss America system also gives a lot of scholarship money awards to the prize winners.
Well, Haley, you are from Carrollton, Kentucky, which is part of the Northern Kentucky tri-state area. How long have you been doing beauty pageants?
Oh, gosh, I think the first one I entered was when I was 5, Little Miss Carroll County.
Did you win?
I did.
How old are you, Haley?
I'm 21. I'll be 22 in 11 days.
Are you going to college?
Yes, I'm a senior at Northern Kentucky University.
And what are you studying?
I am studying communications and public relations.
You know, this is going to happen in July. What do you have to do to get prepared for the Miss Kentucky pageant, Haley?
Well, actually a lot. Since I just won, I'm going to have to get a interview coach, a voice coach, and then I'll also have to get a personal trainer and just get everything ready for the whole system. And there's also going to be a full week of preparation leading up to that with all the girls, too.
Do you have to like diet and exercise a lot?
Probably a month before will be pretty hardcore with the diet and exercise. So right now I'm just kind of taking it easy.
Haley, you sent me a picture of yourself. Which one were you in that picture?
I was the one without the sash, probably the shortest one in the photo.
Okay, I will have Chuck Holbrook post that picture so people can put a voice to a face to that. You're very pretty. Now,
sure, thank you.
Now, Haley, I got to ask you this question because I know we have a big male audience, and I want you to know that males always wonder about this in these beauty pageants. Do you have a boyfriend? And if you do, does he get jealous of all the stuff you got to do to be in these pageants?
Actually, yes, I do. We've been dating for almost 4 years. So
good. Stability. Does he brag about the fact that he dates you, a future Miss Kentucky?
No, I mean, not in front of me. He might behind my back.
I guarantee you that he does, doesn't he, TC? He's bragging to all his buddies.
Oh, that's funny. But he's pretty much used to the process by now. It was difficult at first to get used to, but he's pretty much used to it now.
Now, is he majoring in informatics or is he on the football team?
No, neither. He's a little older, so he's past the college times.
Older man. How old is your boyfriend, Haley? I'm going to embarrass you. How old is he?
He's 28.
Well, that's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
You know, us men are immature, so we always have to date people younger than us.
That's a good point of view on the thing.
Now, Haley, is there anything we can do to help you on my newsletter list, my Facebook pages, here at the radio station? Is there anything that we can help you? We'd like to adopt you, so to speak, and help you with any cause that we can do. How can we help you?
Well, you can always advertise my name and my title, and I'm on Facebook also, so you can definitely advertise me. And I'm raising money for the Children's Miracle Network. So for the pageant, each contestant has to raise about $250 for the Children's Miracle Network. And I have a link on my Facebook if you'd like to donate, so that's always helpful too.
Well, count me in for $250. Can you?
Oh, wow, thank you.
Haley, can you email me at eric@ericdeters.com what you want us to promote, and I'll make sure it gets promoted really good.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much.
All righty. Haley Franklin, good luck and congratulations, and we hope that when you're Miss Kentucky and you're Miss America, that you don't forget the little people here at Real Talk 1160 like myself.
Oh, definitely not. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Haley Franklin, bright future.
Yeah.
Bright future. Shifting gears, I have one more final legal thing that I want to discuss. The Rutgers student was found guilty. That's Daron Ravi, who sent a message to social media users about his roommate being gay, videotaped him, was convicted, faces the 10 years in prison and deportation. Something I did not know, TC, did you know that he sent to this guy, Tyler Clementi, a message of regret and support 14 minutes too late?
Really?
14 minutes, not knowing it, that Tyler posted that he was going to jump off the George Washington Bridge. He had sent a message like, hey, man, I know you're gay. It's okay with me. Da-da-da-da-da. You know what? It's a tough case. Two things. A, what he did was so cruel and mean.
Right.
Yet, on the other hand, 10 years?
That's kind of steep, you know?
You know, it's a tough case. You know, some cases are tough.
Now, do you look at this as a hate crime, or is this just some college kid
prank?
being dumb?
Exactly. You know what? Apparently, this guy had people testify. He never said one negative word about his gay roommate to anybody.
Yeah.
I think it's college prank gone bad.
Yeah.
I look at it this way. There, but the grace of God goes a lot of college kids.
Right, right.
I mean, come on. When you're 19, 20, 18, man, you do stupid stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Stupid stuff. You know, by the way, it's been proven. If I think I represented him, I would have had the scientists come on that actually do these tests that show that the male's brain isn't developed when they're 19 or 20.
That's a good point.
We come back, more radio superbity as we dive into some politics on Real Talk 1160.
Make sure you listen up for the Huckabee Report. That's coming up at 8:30 this morning here on Real Talk 1160. And now, back to the Bulldog.
Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. And as I slide into politics, I want to cover a few things on the Afghanistan front. Karzai says he wants us out of the villages. All that work. Just think about all these 10 years, all that work securing villages for the Afghani people that do not want the Taliban to rule. And just like that, we're out of there. And you know why? Because Karzai knows we're leaving. So Karzai now has to make a deal with the Taliban. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, God bless our soldiers and God curse. Nobody ever uses that phrase. God curse the political leaders who put them there. God bless the soldiers. God curse the political leaders who put them there. Our soldiers. You know, I love the NCAA tournament. I love sports. It struck me Sunday how these great athletes are so emotional after they lose, especially the seniors and the coaches. I get that. I don't belittle it at all. For example, I'm one of these non-politically correct people that when athletes talk about being warriors, I get that. Man, you're playing football and basketball. You want that attitude of, we're warriors. Let's get in there and fight. But I also thought that the soldiers that are fighting our wars in Afghanistan and Iraq are the same age as these players. And these soldiers are risking their lives in theaters of war. Just put it in all context. I just want to put it all in context, folks. I also have to assert a little bit of a defense for Robert Bales, who's, by the way, his lawyer represented Bundy, the serial killer, and he's a famous public defender out Seattle way. Good lawyer. Did you know that Robert Bales served 3 tours? He was passed up for promotions. He lost part of his foot. He had financial struggles. He had a concussion. He watched a friend's leg get blown off. This guy snapped. Plain and simple. I resented Peter Ducey's report painting him as the terrible light on Fox News Sunday. What Bales did was wrong, and he's going to pay the price. But I still feel for him and his family, and I worry about others. This guy snapped, folks. This guy served 3 tours. Did you? Before you judge him? He suffered financial consequences from those 3 tours. Did you? He fought for our country and killed enemy, bad people. Did you? I'm not condoning what he did. But there's a reason he did what he did. He snapped under all of that. His buddy getting his leg blown off from an IED from the enemy. And don't think for a minute that he's seen women and children used by the Taliban to kill people. So he gets drunk and he just says, I can't take this anymore. What he did was murder. What he did was wrong. But he snapped. There but the grace of God go us. Passed up. I know I can see this guy's life. You know, he didn't want to go back again. He didn't want to go back again. He was wanting to move his family to Kentucky. No, but they send him back. And ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, let me tell you something, folks. People talk about World War II, the greatest generation. I will not belittle the World War II veterans. The World War II veterans were great. But you know what the World War II veterans had that our soldiers of today don't have? Great political leadership. Compare George Bush, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and all the people around these presidents and this Congress. Let's compare them to FDR, Harry Truman, Stimson, George Marshall. Heavyweights. Great political leadership. Making the decisions for our soldiers. But I will say this, I will assert that our veterans serving in Iraq and Afghanistan are doing something that those soldiers in World War II never had to do. serve 10 years in theaters of combat, do tour after tour after tour after tour. Some of these people have done 6, 7, 8 tours. This guy did 3. How much do we have to ask of our American soldiers? And then they have post-traumatic stress disorder, and then they lose limbs. And what does Barack Obama want to do? He wants to cut their health insurance. Is this enough for you to pick up your gun and go with me to Washington? Would this be enough? Would this be enough? Cutting soldiers' health care benefits? No. No, no, no. Because you know what, folks? I'm going to blast you with 2 barrels. I'm going to blast you with 2 barrels. American jury, you're weak. Not all of you, but most of you. This from Walter Williams in his column Sunday. Because Americans are so compliant and willing to suffer silently at the gasoline pump, the Obama administration is willing to press on as handmaidens of environmental extremists who want to halt the exploration of our country's vast oil supplies, which are estimated to be triple those of Saudi Arabia. The Obama administration would rather pour more taxpayer dollars into risky alternative crony energy suppliers and electric cars. The OPEC nations have to be laughing at us, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was revealed they were making under-the-table payments to environmental wackos. You say, Bulldog, what's that got to do with what you just said? Here's what it has to do. You Americans are going to the pump and paying $4 for gas now. And you're doing it like sheep. You Americans are watching this president submit a budget of a $1.3 trillion deficit, and you're taking it. You Americans are letting this president increase our debt now to $16 trillion and counting, and taking it. You're letting this president block an XL pipeline that provides jobs and energy dependence, and you're taking it. You Americans are letting illegal immigrants come in this country left and right and stay here and receive health care and Medicare and Social Security and everything else, and you're taking it. You Americans just keep letting your political leaders walk right all over you. And you know what? You don't do anything about it. Those of you that say the Bulldog's off his rocker thinking that we should have an armed revolution in Washington, really? Really? How much is it going to take for you, you weak, compliant sheep that follows these fools wherever they lead you? How much is it going to take you? See, because I've had enough. I've had enough. You weak, weak, weak person haven't had enough. How much is it going to take before you say enough is enough? Because let me tell you what, getting up in the morning and going to your job and putting up with it and saying, well, I get to vote in November, Bulldog. I get to vote in the GOP primary. I'll get to vote this president out of the office. Really? Do you think that we've got odds on to defeat this guy when he attended 5 fundraisers the other night, raised $4.5 million, and he's going to have about $700 million to spend in 5 states to count? Hell, he's going to have enough money to give each voter a check for $10,000. It's incredible, folks. The political system's broken this country. The legal system is broken this country. America is going off a cliff. I saw Jeff Sessions, Republican senator from Alabama, speak with passion on the Senate floor about the economic catastrophe. Is Jeff Sessions a crazy? Is he a crazy guy? You're weak, America. I will be proven right. You watch. We come back more on Real Talk 1160. Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Real Talk 1160. By the way, that rant is going to be my video blog for the day. It'll be put up on the bulldogsnation.com. It'll be put up on Real Talk 1160. It'll also be put up on my Facebook page. So if you missed it or you want to hear it again or share it, you're going to be able to share that. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, America is filled with 2 groups of people. People like you and I that want America to be the way it was, the way it is, the way it should be. and those that want to take America down a road where it never has gone before. It's incredible. I had some political observations, and I record these in my phone, on my notepad in my iPhone. And it's funny how I get these and today we got some great original ideas, don't we? Soldiers working stateside like the Roman soldiers at peacetime to build our infrastructure. The concept that coaches should leave their best players in the game or any player in the game when they have 2 fouls in the first half or 3 in the early part of the second half. What the hell? Leave them out there. It's win or go home. You don't think that Lehigh coach is questioning putting McCullum on the bench during the Xavier game? Last 4.5 minutes of the half? Stupid. Few short observations about Obama. Isn't it appropriate that Obama wants to be reelected as an award for failure, and that this award of failure permeates our politics, economics, and culture? So poetic. We are if you are a loser, don't worry about it. We'll pay for everything for you. If you're a fat, lazy loser, don't worry. We'll pay for everything for you. Barack Obama is a perfect candidate for such a person. Isn't it also hilarious that Obama plays his mixed race? He has the African Americans for Obama and then claims his Irish heritage, goes out and has that beer. He wants all the black vote because he's black, and he wants the white vote to vote for him because he's black. That book I began reading about the Roman Empire discussed how you had to kill 5,000 people in order to get a arch built. They called them triumphant arches. And I thought to myself, Barack Obama is such an egomaniac. You watch. He's probably going to want to create and build an Arch of Obama in Washington, D.C. or Chicago, Illinois. You watch. There'll be an Arch Obama. His fundraising. He attended 5 the other day, keeping up that pace of averaging 3 a day. One bit of good news, in 2008 he had 23,000 donors. Today it's down to 10,000. Let's hope that keeps going. You heard me dog the American people as being weak. I'm going to go over, and this is going to be on my blog and newsletter today, I'm going to go over a few items. The 3 biggest problems and programs that we cannot afford the way they currently exist are Medicare, Social Security, and the prescription drug bill known as Medicare Part D. Do you know that 92% of Democrats and 73% of Republicans do not want cuts in Medicare? You wimpy, weak, cowardly people. Social Security. Will someone explain to me why we do not save for our own future? Are you kidding me? Why shouldn't I just save for my own family's future? I've begun doing that, by the way. We have made a conscious effort to begin saving for our future. Do you know it used to be 17-1 worker paying in to somebody receiving Social Security? 17 workers to 1 recipient of Social Security. It's now 4-1, and it's expected to get to 2-1 real quick. Think about that, folks. 2 workers are paying for 1 person to get Social Security. Shame on everyone who is unwilling to resolve this crisis. I saw a video piece where senior citizens, these old geezers, were out there bashing Dan Rostenkowski's car when he proposed co-pays for senior citizens. This is a Democrat, chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, comes up with some kind of an idea. The senior citizens, by the way, seniors can be awful selfish. Prescription drug bill, unfunded. You should have heard Dana Perino stumble around trying to explain how this happened on John Stossel this weekend. It was funnier than hell. Google that. Dana Perino, John Stossel, prescription drug bill or Medicare Part D. It was hilarious. She was trying to explain why Bush did it. Oh, God, it was hilarious. And I like Dana Perino. She had no answers. In private, I would love to say, Dana, that was pretty funny. Both Democrats and Republicans supported this. Shame on the seniors who think they deserve a free ride on prescription medicine, even if it bankrupts the country. I don't care if it bankrupts the country. I want my free prescriptions. Well, guess what, folks? America's bankrupt. You're not going to get it. Gas prices. Oh, by the way, my health insurance has doubled. Just want everybody to know. Obamacare, my private health insurance has doubled. Wasn't it supposed to come down? Wasn't it supposed to come down? TC, you got health insurance?
Do I have health insurance?
Yes.
At this moment, I do not.
God love you.
I do not.
Mine is doubled.
So I eat the oatmeal and the banana.
Good for you.
I don't have a choice.
Gas prices, 6% increase in February. Now, are you ready for this, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury? And again, I read the Wall Street Journal because you don't have time to. This from the Wall Street Journal over the weekend. U.S. gasoline prices jumped 6% in February, and market experts predict they will climb higher because critical refining operations in the Northeast are shutting down. From New York to Philadelphia, refineries that turn oil into gasoline have been idled or shut permanently because their owners are losing money on them. Sunoco is expected to close the region's largest refinery in July, taking another 335,000 barrels per day in production capacity off the market. Folks, what do you think's going to happen to gasoline prices now? Your president of the United States is at war with oil. He doesn't want to help a refinery out. Let's give some money to Solyndra to blow. The East Coast refineries are getting squeezed by the soaring cost of crude oil, the major component in gasoline. The cost of oil has jumped in the past year due to global economic growth and rising tensions between Western nations and Iran, a major producers. Refineries haven't been able to increase their own prices enough to compensate. The government said Friday that the increase in gas prices had contributed to 0.4% overall increase in consumer prices in February. Prices at the pump averaged $3.83 a gallon on Friday, according to AAA. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, you know how they took off? This is hilarious. You know how they took off those people not looking for work as part of the unemployment numbers? How hilarious is it that they remove gasoline prices from how they measure inflation? TC shaking his head. Is that not amazing? It's kind of like, well, we don't like these unemployment numbers. Hey, if people aren't looking for jobs, let's just not count them. Boy, inflation's looking pretty bad. Hey, to help our inflation numbers, let's not include gasoline prices.
Well, you know, if you don't count those other 30-some radio stations, we're number one.
Exactly. Hey, that's a great idea. Hey, for now on, we are not going to count the ratings of any radio station that has a certain wattage. My God, we're number one.
That's it. We are. We're number one. Get the big foam rubber finger.
It's incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I'm speaking the truth this morning as good as I've ever spoken it. If you're listening to this show and you got a friend that you think needs an education or thinks like we do, tell him to listen to today's podcast, especially after 8 o'clock, or the video cast after 8 o'clock. When we come back, I'm going to just bring you up to date on the GOP. Folks, I hadn't forgotten it. The GOP primary with some comments about it. And I'm also going to have my show and tell. And don't touch that dial because it involves Jennifer Love Hewitt. That's just 3 words. Jennifer Love Hewitt with an H. TC, what do you think of Jennifer Love Hewitt?
I love Jennifer Love.
You know, I defended her publicly when she got fat and they showed some pictures of her in a bathing suit and she was overweight. I defended her.
Did you?
I said, you know what? Jennifer Love Hewitt's a good girl and she's still pretty.
Yeah.
When we come back, show and tell on the video cast. and the who can do Jennifer Love Hewitt and GOP at the same time? That's right, just me. Radio Superbity of Bulldog Nation Radio on Real Talk 1160.
And remember, your healthy radio addiction starts at 9 o'clock. Laura Ingram, 9 to noon today on Real Talk 1160. And now, back to the Bulldog.
This is Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160, delivering Radio Superbity every morning with you. Laura Ingram has her radio addiction following me, followed by the Savage Nation, then Dennis Miller, then the other guys. Great radio all day long right here on Real Talk 1160. Remember, Washington Times is on from 6 to 7 before me. Great show. So stay tuned. The GOP, let me bring you up to date from the weekend. Mitt Romney won Puerto Rico. And folks, remember that I joked, this is hilarious, that I joked that maybe Rick Santorum went to Puerto Rico to vacation and not really campaign. Well, somebody on a gay cruise ship took a picture of him in a swimming trunks lounging by a pool near the beach. And sure enough, he was sunbathing. Now, by the way, I want to say, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad Santorum was taking a break. But it's just kind of funny that I called it. I called it, folks. I called it first. And he apologized for how he looked. Don't apologize, Santorum. You're a middle-aged man. What do you expect?
See Bill Clinton?
Yeah. The Illinois poll coming up tomorrow. The poll, Romney 37%, Santorum 31%, Newt 13, Paul 7. Incredible because Romney's outspending like 10 to 1. And Santorum says, give me a victory here, I'll win this nomination. You know, Romney can only win states that are too big to campaign in the coffee shops and diners, and he can use his money advantage. Bulldog note, like Michigan, Ohio, and Florida, Romney's spending a fortune. Also, what if Newt wasn't there? He's the great Santorum blocker. The Missouri caucus was on Saturday. It was kind of a disaster. You know, in February, they kind of voted for Santorum, but then they have another caucus. Now, I'm going to read to you what's in the USA Today to tell you. This will help sum up why our political process is a joke. Quote, there was no declared winner from Missouri's nearly 140 local caucuses. That's because party rules did not require delegates to be bound to any particular candidate, and no straw vote was conducted. Rather, the local caucuses were to elect 2,123 people to advance the congressional district conventions April 21st and a state convention June 2nd. It's at these meetings that the bulk of the Missouri's 52 delegates will be bound to a presidential candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, just like I said all last week, why don't we have the first Tuesday in May, every state in this country vote for the primary, Democrat and Republican? And why don't we have the first Tuesday in November, every state in this country vote in the general election, which we do? I mean, it is such a joke. The Republicans, the political apparatus of the political operatives, the super PACs, the money, the lobbying. Our political system is a joke. The only people that make money on it is the pollsters, the political operatives, and television radio stations doing the advertising. It needs to be fixed. Now, if you thought I was going to end on such a serious note on Monday morning, you are wrong. Because I know good radio. And good radio includes the great fabric that we weave, that radio stew, that radio superbity is to inform, inspire, and entertain. Let's face it, we've covered sports, pop culture, tornadoes, Obama. We do it all. We rant, we laugh. I'm telling you, folks, it's the first time you ever listen to this show, you're not going to get better radio in the country than what we deliver every morning, me and my buddy TC. By the way, TC, you got a green water commercial?
Why, yes, we do. In honor of Taco Bell's new, have you seen they've got something new on the menu this week?
What is it?
No, seriously, they have the new, it's called the Taco Bell Loco Nacho Cheese Dorito Taco.
Oh, my God.
Using a Dorito as a shell.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
So we are sponsoring this, our Bulldog Nation, with the Taco Bell Loco Nacho Dorito Taco with green water. Remember, it's the water that's green, not the cheese.
I love it.
We're going to go with that one. Our second one was...
Go ahead.
The second one was go with the Nacho Green Water. Remember, if you don't buy it, it's nachos.
I got to ask you, is that really what they're calling this?
Yeah.
That's the description of what they're selling.
The Loco Dorito, Nacho Cheese Dorito Taco.
So you pull up to the window and say, I'd like to have 3... Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, Maxim Magazine just absolutely blew by Playboy in subscriptions. And you know why? Because there's not naked girls, and a guy can read this on an airplane and not be embarrassed. Even some wives and girlfriends probably don't mind their men reading Maxim Magazine. And Maxim Magazine is great for some of the stuff in it. I mean, some of the items like the grown-up spring break experience. It's hilarious.
They do have some great articles.
What a grown-up. And they photograph women in, clothes. On the cover, this is my show and tell, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Hello.
By the way, she says that those have been good for her career and lots of other things, too, that they have been an asset to her career. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I want to nominate Jennifer Love Hewitt, American Sweetheart, the American Jury Sweetheart, because isn't it when it all comes down to it, TC, what men, don't get me wrong, men like lots of different things, but don't we really love the sweet girl next door that is smart, but she's also very sexy, and we're never going to have a chance, but at the same time, she's so sweet, we think maybe we would.
Yeah.
In other words, the good girl that maybe's bad, but we don't really know. Jennifer Love Hewitt. Compare Jennifer Love Hewitt to like Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian. I mean, it isn't even close, is it?
No, not at all. No, she is the good girl that went away to college and came back and, wow, look at you.
Exactly. She's just cute.
Yeah, she is.
Cute. Like I say, Marianne or Ginger maybe for an evening, but come on, any day of the week, it's Marianne.
Exactly.
TC, I would like to get your feedback on anything that I've commented on the show that you are just dying to comment about.
I think the idea with putting our soldiers to better use for peacetime, which obviously we have to get to the peacetime, get out of Afghanistan. I agree with you. This guy, Bales, poor guy. This guy snapped. He snapped. That's called burnout.
Yeah,
it happens on the job.
What's amazing is what does the military and the political leadership country expect when you keep sending these people back and back? What's it called? I know what it's called because they named the movie after it. And Tatum Channing played in the movie this role in the movie Bomb because quote unquote unpatriotic movies don't do very well. But what's it called when they keep sending them back again and again? God, there's a word for it. And I know it, but it escapes me. And it's basically when they just keep making you go back. In other words, it's kind of like, sorry about your luck, you're going back.
Right.
And this movie, Tatum Channing says, no, I'm not. I've had enough. And I'm watching this movie, which was it didn't do very well. I liked it. I'm watching this movie, and I'm like, I don't blame the guy. Man, I'm a flag-waving, patriotic, red, white, and blue guy. You do tour after tour after tour. How much do you got to expect from these people?
And look what all he had to go through.
Oh,
all the stuff that happened to him in, was it 2007?
He gave up his foot. Yeah. He had financial issues. His buddy just blew his leg blown off. And those soldiers over there know. I mean, they're sitting there with those IED devices. They know that some of the men and some of the children and some of the women in the villages are part of the Taliban, setting the bombs. These people I'm assuming are innocent and he shouldn't have done what he did. But I'm just saying, in his mind, he's just like, you know what, I've had enough.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Oh, by the way, thanks to Ken Wooker. He remembers you from a thing that you did in Independence a couple years ago. He's like a bigwig with the Northern Kentucky Career Center. They're having their Veterans Jobs Fair.
Great.
Next Wednesday. That's March 18th. He was on with us yesterday. He's a good guy. He wanted to tell me to tell you hi.
Well, you tell him hi back. Remember what I say, folks. Every dog has their day. I hope tomorrow is yours. This is Monday. It's a big week. We got NCAA basketball at the end of the week. My daughter's getting married Friday, and I promised everybody we're going to have televisions with the UK-Indiana game on during the reception because I am courteous.
You got to watch Father of the Bride with Steve Martin.
Yep. Every dog has their day. I hope tomorrow is yours. Bulldog Nation, I love you. This is the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160.